Maybe.
All right.
Can we go?
Yes.
Yeah.
We
Okay.
can start with hello.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Honesty Hour. That is a working title, but considering the fact that in 2 weeks, I haven't been able to come up with a better title, I think that's probably gonna stick. I have my sister with me. I have a friend of mine with me who also happens to be my sister's boyfriend. But that's his secondary role in life. Welcome, Edson.
Thank you.
Welcome, Samantha.
Thank you very much.
Did you want to be welcomed?
Well, I appreciate it.
Thank you. I'm getting this feeling, right? And it might have something to do with the fact that you gave me coffee before this. But I feel like I'm in a late night jazz environment. And I'm not. Well, the late night part of it maybe.
Maybe.
But I feel warm inside.
Yeah.
Was there something else in that coffee that you maybe need
There
to
was
tell
a
me
little
about?
bit of cinnamon.
Does cinnamon get you going?
Not really, but it does make you feel a special kind of warm.
I see. You guys are coffee experts. Because
Well, we people who enjoy coffee.
I speak to my friends, and I say I also drink coffee because we had like a big tin of coffee inside. My friends probably respond with disgust and disdain that I consider myself a coffee drinker. And as you like to point out, that's chicory, eh?
Yes.
Yeah.
Primarily. There is some coffee,
There we go.
but more chicory.
Yes. It's a. If we are. Oh, sorry. We're not going to mention the brand name.
No, I already said coffee.
Oh, okay.
You did.
'Cause-
We didn't.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. So if you guys are gonna sue, it's just me.
All right. Yes, because I'm not going to take that responsibility on myself.
Nice.
In any case.
Enough legal troubles of your own.
Let's not go there. Anyway, so in the name itself, you can hear
What? There's no.
coffee. Coffee.
Oh, is there the chicory part?
Yes, there we go.
I didn't know that. You
Yeah.
learned something new.
I
every
mean,
day.
maybe that's not it, but in my mind, that makes sense.
You imagine you're completely wrong, and that will be that funny.
It would be amazing if that is something that people will adopt.
I know some people who say if they use a certain brand, they call it coffee, and then 5 minutes later they need to re-coffee.
Nice.
So
Wow.
they keep
That's
re-coffee.
Wow.
That's the content that we love to hear on this channel, eh? So the reason I started this podcast,
Yes.
yeah, so that you guys know why you're listening, is look, we're all gonna die
Wow.
at some point, right? So we have a finite time here on this planet, but we all want to leave something that outlasts us. Okay, I don't know about if we all want to leave something, but I want to leave something, right? So one day I'm not going to be here anymore, and I would like to have something that stays. And what I like is conversations, right? And because with these individuals, but also in my own head, I have conversations that I think, oh, that could be fun recording, like that could be worth recording. And so
Useful.
yeah, and then I thought, okay, why not start a podcast? And then the podcast is also a historical document, and I'm very interested in that sort of stuff. So it's like putting something in a. Do you know about those cryogenic chambers?
The minus 30 degrees.
Yes, where you freeze yourself
Yes.
and then you are right later on.
Minus 30 degrees Celsius.
Yes, so this is our equivalent of we are freezing this conversation. We're making it minus 30 degrees Celsius, and it will be openly accessible to my children's children, if God so
Wow.
Wow.
allows. I've
I
got
was
my,
thinking time capsule. I'm a bit simpler there.
yeah, but like the same thing.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. So
But
This
there's
is-
physics involved.
this is partly for my legacy, and then partly just because I want to have conversations with people. It's a nice excuse to take some time out and talk to people. So thank you very much, guys, for being here. Thank you for listening, whoever is listening. I'm not ambitious really, in the sense of this is not going to be a Joe Rogan type of thing, but it's very much for my own, which I think he does as well. I think he does things that he likes to do. But we'll be talking about different things, and I wanted to know, since I have not been since COVID, I've not been in the party scene.
Oh,
Yes.
were you ever before?
No,
Okay.
But also since
But
COVID,
since COVID,
True.
I haven't been at any of the parties, eh?
Indeed.
I don't know if they were even having parties, to be honest. When you were younger, Edson, because let's say you are considerably older than
Okay.
me.
that's fair to say, I think.
You could argue older than some, okay? But
What? There's no argument. A fact is a fact.
considerably is the
Oh,
operative
is
word.
that the
Yeah.
Okay.
But then it's an opinion.
Okay. But we all about opinions here.
Are we-
Anyways,
are we?
I am.
Honestly.
Yes.
Okay.
But some opinions are dumb and should be called out as such.
That's your opinion.
Yes. But
Okay.
also, I'm not perfect, eh? So I'm going to say some dumb things on here, and that's fine. Because we're all
Perfectly fine.
learning.
We were talking about parties.
The partying scene.
Yes.
Were you an avid partier when you were younger?
Wow. What's your definition? I've been to a number of birthday parties.
Nice, okay.
Yeah.
Even me.
We wore hats. And, we sang for the people. and
Okay.
There were starlights.
Okay, so now we're getting into the interesting stuff, eh? Was there, in addition to starlights, I'm doing another catering situation,
Yes.
biscuits and cakes and all that, that's fine.
Yeah.
Were there substances that would not normally be associated with children's parties at the parties you've been at?
Well, not at the children's parties I was at.
Okay.
Yeah, because yes,
Yeah.
Yeah, because
there's many different types of parties.
yeah, but if you're bringing weed to a children's party, then
Well,
that's a little bit sus.
I mean, you could have put a room aside and say parents only.
Is this a sort of thing that happens at parties? And I just haven't been invited because I'm not a parent yet.
Well, I'm not a parent either. I'm not saying that I was invited to something, but people get creative.
Okay. I'm talking
I
about.
think if it can be imagined,
Then
It can be done.
Yes.
Okay.
I don't know how it would turn out though. Because I think if people are thinking a step ahead, maybe they wouldn't have such a room at such a party.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, you don't want to diminish your child's experience. At least that's coming from the assumption that you're actually trying to be a good parent. Eh?
Yeah. Oh. Yes. Yes.
I would say if something like that was on the charts, it would definitely be at parents with more than one child. It would not be a first child, an only child
Really?
situation. I think so. Because from what I observe,
Okay.
parents seem to relax a little bit more the more children that they have.
I have never disagreed with anything more in my life, I don't think.
Okay.
Have you watched Cheaper by the Dozen?
Have you seen our parents?
I don't think our parents are sort of the
Well,
barometer from
I-
which to measure.
I also don't know if you'll be able to judge being the last born.
Here we go. Because
I-
that is your only point of reference.
How does being the last born affect
You don't know
Because
how
you
our
haven't
parents
seen
were.
the temperament or
Okay.
the parenting
okay,
style
okay,
change.
Yes. I hear you there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm talking about observing other parents, right? I can still observe a parent who has one child and a parent who has three children.
Yes.
Three
Yes.
childs. And come to a conclusion. Don't you think? And it's not like my opinion's going to be hindered by the fact that I was born last. I don't think.
No, but also what you perceive may not be the entire reality of that parent-child relationship.
Yeah.
So
Agreed.
you'll almost have a limited vantage point of what that dynamic is like.
And the vantage point that Samantha is talking about when it comes to our parents is one that is
Not based on your
multi-situational.
experience.
Yeah. So explain to me how the temperament has changed.
I think you would agree.
I said something like this
Yes, you
when was
did.
it yesterday?
It was a private conversation that
Yeah.
we had.
Yes.
Yes. Where you did mention that you certainly have gotten away with a few more things than what your older siblings would have.
Benefited from better experience
Yes.
is the way I like to frame it.
I would say that our parents' stance on discipline has been consistent. However, the implementation of the discipline has certainly
Okay.
changed.
Understood.
So
From a more physical punishing
I suppose from a more physical punishing element. Of course, you yourself have gone through a phase where you initiated a return of the physical element.
Oh, hectic. We're speaking about that.
I'm just saying. But
Go for it.
prior to that, a complaint from your older siblings was the lack of that
Okay.
physical implementation of discipline.
I'm gonna tell the story now because
Sure,
you've
for
already
For sure.
you've sort of tickled at the outer extremities of it.
All right.
So allow me to tell the story. I was on the receiving end of a good hiding. One that I obviously felt like at the time it wasn't deserved. But what did I know? I was a lighty and I was probably for sin. Right? So I get the hiding.
Just sorry, man.
Yes.
Translate for sin for those who are not familiar
I
with the word
mean,
for sin.
okay.
Because we don't know our audience is.
True, eh?
Exactly.
And I like the fact that you're expanding our horizons here.
Indeed.
For sin, for those of you that don't know, is like stupid, but stupid, man, not stupid. Does that make sense? The way I said it, that should convey the message. It's like, it's stupid, but it's a combination of silly, I would add, and then like pride. There's pride
Oh my
in for sin,
goodness. Okay.
I think.
Okay, we can discuss this further, but continue with the story.
So I was that.
All right.
Then I received a hiding from my mother, who was sort of the primary disciplinarian in our
Sorry,
home growing
just
up.
returning to your definition. I would agree with your definition with in terms of how you were. Continue.
Oh, so my version of a sin was
Yes.
there was pride in it.
All right.
Right. So now I'm like, yo, this is Miss Junk, man. Because this lady, that's what I was thinking at the time. I have respect for my mom, guys. When I call her mom or mother, never ma. But I thought, yo, this lady is hitting me and I don't deserve to be hit. So in my head, I was like, this is actually just assault. This is not discipline. So I thought, if you're gonna eat me, then I'm gonna eat you. So, yeah, guys, I know. It's fine.
Continue.
So I done something I'm not proud of, right? But so I picked up, there was a slipper laying there while I was receiving this beating.
Please clarify how old you were because.
Oh,
I
yes,
feel
guys,
like-
it was not
please,
now,
just-
yo.
No, just please clarify how
I'm
old
not
you
an
were.
abuser.
Just, just
I
clarify
try
your
my best
age.
not to be, guys.
You make that sound like you fail sometimes.
I was maybe, what, 11? 12?
You would know best.
I think 11 was maybe the last time I got hiding, 11 or 12. And that's the slipper was laying on the floor, and I was like, I'm gonna take the slipper and I'm gonna eat back. And then I did one of those, and like towards the midsection. That's important. But I do feel like if it was in the face, it would be worse. Eh? But
my goodness.
and then a lot of things happened. My mother threatened to call the police on me, and then I was like, call the police because I'm busy being assaulted. She was like, nah, when the police get here, I'm gonna tell them to eat you.
Wow.
Yeah, this is hectic
It
stuff,
was
eh?
hectic. He was a hectic child. This is, and yes. All right, continue.
I want to elaborate on that further, right, later. But let's just get to the end of this awful story. Look, then the police weren't called at the end of the day. The situation was resolved. I have never laid my hand on
A slipper.
nice on any members of my family. Well,
Well, let's not go there, but continue.
the others were self-defense, guys. But yo, that makes it sound like
Just continue.
Like
Just
your
continue.
experience is riddled with.
yes,
Yes,
it's not,
it's
guys.
just-
For the most part, my family are nice people, and we love each other.
When there are slippers involved.
But so I vowed never to do that again because it's embarrassing and it's wrong, and it's not something I'm proud of. which is why I didn't expect to be talking about it on the
Yes.
first episode. But you
But
can't
you
always
know,
speak about
honestly,
things.
I will.
Exactly.
You know. So,
This is not about tooting my own horn.
Indeed.
It's about acknowledging that we have faults, right?
Well, honestly, I didn't expect to hear that story either. So I'm a little bit surprised.
but I mean, this is your podcast. Go for it. If you
Yeah.
want to, reveal your heart, this is your honesty.
The
But
thing-
also to make a contribution to what you guys were talking about, 2 or 3 steps
Yes.
further back. As the younger sibling of 3, I was regularly informed that there was a lot more leniency
Yes.
during
Which is exactly
my
what I
periods
was.
of discipline.
Yeah.
Yes.
So what she says to you
Yes.
Is what you- your
things that I've
sisters have,
heard
yeah.
before, and there were practical examples of things that I had done,
Mm-hmm.
and then it was made clear that if others before you had done the same
Yeah.
thing, the treatment would have been this, and this, but you didn't receive
Yeah, yeah,
the same
yeah.
treatment.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so
And so-
therefore it's unfair.
So
So-
the idea that
Yeah.
that leniency sort of changes as more children arrive
Mm-hmm.
in a family makes sense.
Indeed. So the reason, the very fact that thought could have crossed his mind to pick up the slipper is the mere result of the leniency that happened
What if
And
when the
liberty
third
you
one
just
came in.
assumed.
Exactly, that's just the thing. So because of this, of course, they obviously saw that the lack of the physical discipline was resulting in such a creation,
that's hectic?
caused the implementation, the re-implementation of these steps, these necessary, very necessary
Okay.
steps.
I
But before
disagree.
that, we were very, very soon and very early in our lives.
Yes.
The rod was not spared.
So
The rod was not spared.
let's get into where the rod was spared, right? Because Samantha in our house was Samantha always, and what, to your credit, you strive to do the right things, I would say like 99% of the time, which is not a lot of people do that. Okay?
Okay.
But that made you an insufferable older sibling. Because sometimes when my brother and I would try and just have some fun, make some jokes, we were put in our place, man.
Because
by
I
someone who
knew-
wasn't our mommy.
Because I knew the consequences of such things. And
Sometimes
hence,
she wanted to implement the
no,
concept.
I didn't. It never reached that point.
I hear you.
However, I knew the possible consequences of such things, and in order to avoid it, because I am someone that does not like
Conflict.
everything that goes into the implementation of physical discipline. I don't
Okay.
like the crying. I don't like the rod not being spared.
Mm.
I don't like the whole process. So, in order to avoid all of that, I see the things that would cause that to happen. And so I try to nip it in the bud. But unfortunately, I have siblings that sometimes just push the limits.
I think life is best experienced when it's explored liberally, maybe. Or-
I'm not so sure about liberally, but I do agree that the limits should be explored, just to gain some sort of familiarity of how far is too far.
Yeah, and it makes a damn good story as well.
Well, I was never really in it for the story.
Really?
Yeah.
For me, everything is this whole thing is about the story. But that's just a different
Your whole experience with
philosophical.
this whole podcast.
No,
'Cause you
his
explained
whole
that.
life, I will say. Because let me just say, in recent family meetings and everything, a twist of a fact is implemented in his version of something
What?
in order to create a story,
No.
in order to create an event.
I disagree
Does
with
it-
you because the
oh,
story is always
goodness.
there, guys. Everything you do, the story is being created. There's no now post-mortem, right? Or
Oh my goodness.
what's it, ipso facto, or after it's done, right? Now there may be certain language used, right, to try and enhance the details that are in the story, but the details are not made up.
So a facet that is there but would otherwise be ignored.
Yeah, because the details are the devil's in the details, right?
Devil.
hectic. So, for me, all of this is a story, and you need to tell stories right. Because if you skip certain things that you think maybe it's insignificant, right? Maybe it is insignificant, but maybe it adds value. And I think there's a lot of value in exploring the storytelling moments of our lives. So for me, it was like Samantha was extremely cautious. Samantha would advise you that you're going to get cancer at everything that you did. It's like if you crack your nails, crack your knuckles, you're going to get arthritis. If you put something in the microwave, that cancer. If you eat burnt chips, you're going to get cancer. So it was like, I always felt like she stifled herself, and obviously I felt like she was stifling me by being that cautious. Because where's the story if you're not going to eat some burnt chips? You know what I mean? And obviously burnt chips is a metaphor for exploration.
Listen, at some point, I just decided to stop.
Stop exploring.
No.
That sounds bleak.
No. Stop defending you guys.
Oh.
Because for my own mental health and just for everything. Okay, that sounds very extreme, but it is true. Just in order to, at some point, I just became indifferent to the things. Because I can't help you guys anymore. I tried to warn you. You don't want to listen. So do your thing.
Okay.
Do your thing. But if it's going to affect whatever's happening to an extent that, okay, this is danger, I will take the reins again.
I agree with you there, because Samantha nowadays she doesn't get involved. But if I fight back basically against something I feel is absolute nonsense, she will advise me to rather just leave it.
This is interesting because this now touches on a private conversation that she and I had
Okay.
in the last 24 hours.
Maybe, yes.
Maybe.
Mm.
How much is caring for people close to you? You know, how much is looking after them your responsibility, and how much is you sharing what information you have and leaving the choice in their hands? And it's an interesting balance, because at some point, when they ignore the advice to such a point, or the information, or the insight that it's about to wound them, I think somebody needs to step in.
Yeah.
But sometimes, for certain people, that's the only way they learn. And I'm not quite sure where we step in.
Is the balance navigating where you think someone has to learn from experience in that situation?
I would say yes.
Okay.
But he might disagree.
Here's the way I see it. In some way, we are also responsible for taking care of ourselves.
Yes,
That's
that's my thing also.
Yeah.
So to me, it's like, listen, you did what you felt was alright. You see if it works or it doesn't work. If you see that it doesn't work, now then leave it. Let them figure it out on their own. If they don't, well then, okay, you can try again. But if it doesn't work, then this. Then I just feel like, now, then leave it. Then know that that's the situation. That's, for me, maybe this is not right. But for me, it's like, they're not going to change their minds. So we're moving on.
Yeah, but that's deciding for them.
Okay,
that
but
they're not
yes,
gonna
I
change their
understand.
minds.
But still, the thing is, then they're on their own journey. And if they learn the lesson, then they learn the lesson. But like we always conclude at the end, they are not our people, they're Jesus's people.
Nice.
Do you know what I mean? So
Yes.
it's just like, there's nothing more that I can do.
Even we are not our own people. Eh?
In-
We are
true,
also
And this
yes.
is it.
people.
And so one of the conversations that we've had regularly on long road trips is that everybody belongs to Jesus. Even we ourselves, because we are not
Yes.
our own.
Yes.
And so our first responsibility to Jesus is to look after the first gift he gave us, which is life, and ourselves in our relationship with him.
Yeah.
And then, I think once we've reached a healthy balance there, we are available, able, or capable to lend a hand to the experience of others to improve their journey and their walk.
Is it something to do with removing the plank out of your own eye before you? Because it touches on that.
Yes and no.
Okay.
Sometimes it's not so much the log in your own eye before you point out the fault of others, but when you care for people, as happens in families, then
Yes, as much
It's
as we try to
impossible.
deny it.
it's impossible
Sometimes.
to watch them
I
do
don't
something
deny
that you think is to their detriment.
Yeah. Yes.
But the reality is, if they are Jesus people,
Mm.
He will lead them to where they need to be.
Yeah.
And their experience,
But if that log in the eye is the same log that you just got out of your eye, or you at least have some expertise on,
Mhm.
it doesn't hurt to offer some advice, offer some guidance.
Yes, but it's now not up to you whether they're going to accept your
Yeah.
advice or
and I think
whatever.
that's the bigger thing. More than removing the log or the speck or whatever issue it is that you perceive in them,
Mm.
they may not be aware that they have that struggle, because obviously no two people share the same vantage point
Yes.
on any situation.
Yes.
But one is getting them to believe that you can help them, and the other side of the coin is getting them to realize, or not even getting them to realize, whether or not they realize that they have a situation that needs dealing with.
Yeah. And that there's a lot of, I think addiction primarily, the biggest stumbling block when it comes to addiction is not realizing that, not acknowledging that you are an addict.
Oh, addiction.
Addiction.
Sorry, I thought you were talking about addiction, and I was like, how is
Actual
how
language.
is yes, like language?
It would have been quiet if I was able to transition to grammar like that. But with
But not so quiet.
look, I want to move. I want to move it away from other people because I feel like I'm in a stage of my life where I don't have a lot of advice to give other people. I'm 19 at the moment, as of
Okay.
recording. I'm naive when it comes to the outside world.
Yes,
Okay?
as you say, the first step to addiction, to getting healed from addiction, is admittance.
Okay.
Acknowledgement.
That's,
Sorry, yes, that's
um,
an acknowledgement,
yes,
whatever.
Yes, I acknowledge that I am naive. I have a lot of learning to do, but we all do, right? And then it's like I'm in a position where I'm focusing on self-improvement. And if we were, because there will be some people that would argue that, nah, you're the captain of your own ship. That's like that Invictus, no?
Yes.
Yes, okay.
It sounds like a lot of motivational speakers.
But they get it wrong when it comes to you're the captain of. Maybe you are the captain of your own ship, but you definitely aren't your own ship. If this makes sense, you're not in full control of your body. You are bound to firstly the laws of nature, social laws. You are part of you is socially constructed by the people around you, the way you see yourself. Also, if we were ourselves, if we were in total control of ourselves, let me say it like that, we would tell ourselves to do things and then we would do it.
Yes.
And we don't.
Mm.
We tell ourselves to do things and then we don't. It's like, have you guys ever played The Sims?
No, was never interested.
So now, if you play The Sims, no, sometimes you like, okay, I'm gonna turn this Sim in my life. I want to turn my Sim into a world famous author, right? So I tell him, go to the computer and start writing. But this, I was like, nah, I first want to pee. First want to make me something to eat. Now, in many ways, I am that Sim, guys. I've also, this is projection because I started on a novel last year and I'm
Okay.
about 2 pages in.
Oh, okay. Oh, I see.
2
Understood.
pages.
And I keep telling
So that's a
myself
lot of
to-
toilet breaks and a lot of sandwiches.
an incredible amount of sandwiches. But yeah, so we are stewards of ourselves. We're trying to guide ourselves, or we try to act like we are responsible for helping ourselves. And so it's not simple. It's not easy.
No, but I think maybe if we frame what we consider our ship slightly differently, and we cannot control everything that happens to us in our lives, because there are so many factors that are beyond our control. To
Yes.
say my entire destiny is in my hands or under my control is a bit presumptuous,
Mm.
because things can happen that we could never have imagined, and they do happen, and this becomes our reality that we need to deal with. And many people, again, could share similar realities but very different experiences. And I think being the captain of your own ship is probably better expressed or applied to the idea that You are the captain of your own reality and your own perception. Whereas we can both have a broken leg, and you can see it as a career-ending experience.
Yeah,
I could see it as
100%.
an opportunity
Yeah.
to learn to do things differently or to learn from the experience. And so doing something like that in terms of actively controlling how we perceive our reality, not just how we feel or how we react to it, but just trusting something
Yeah.
with almost a form of intent.
Yes.
Um,
I think everything you do in the sense has to be intentionally. Every intentional thing you do at least has to be towards getting you to a place where you are in. You are the captain of a ship that is sailing smoothly, right?
and maybe even not smoothly, but not sinking.
Yes.
And I wouldn't say that's a secret, but that's definitely a very useful lesson I came across a while ago, is that you cannot control anything that happens to you. You have complete control over how you respond to it.
Okay, a big part of how I discovered gratitude. Like you knew about it before, no? But I discovered it maybe 2019. I think I was in matric. 2018, maybe in of grade 11, from my cousin Dwayne. Right? I'm gonna say his name because I don't think he's gonna sue me. But and obviously that wasn't the first exposure, like I said. But he sort of rolled it into how it changed his life, and then I allowed it to change my life. Waking up in the morning, first thing is being grateful for where you are, for the things you have, for the people around you, for life, for the
Yes.
fact that you woke up, because it's not easily accessible, right? That changed sort of my whole outlook on life. And it's not like I was depressed before, but I think I was in a state of limbo before, where I was
At which age was this? Sorry, we just need clarity.
2018,
Is this
2019.
close to 11 years old? Is this closer to
This
19
was-
years old?
This was a far cry away from my slipper
Okay.
eating days. I was maybe 16, grade 11, 16, yeah. So it just blew me away how this thing started like impacting the way I saw minor inconveniences that used to ruin my day. All of a sudden it was like, okay, but you still have this, you're still gonna do this when you get home, you're still here. Like, this minor inconvenience isn't even really a thing. And that's not to invalidate anyone's problems, because your problems are still problems, and when someone punches you, you still get hurt. But you can also, like
Be
you say,
thankful for the punch.
sometimes the punches are necessary, but don't punch me in the face or so, because
Yes.
I
And
haven't
for the midsection.
I haven't liked it so far. Being punched in the face. There's also there's this poem that I love. It's I don't even know if it's a poem or if it's just a saying, but it's by Theodore Roosevelt or Roosevelt. Depending
Yes,
on
because we are in South Africa.
if you're from Paul, then it's
Indeed.
technically Roosevelt, eh?
Oh, well.
Because there's a
You
You know
could
what I'm
get the
doing,
Yes,
right?
Roosevelts
yes,
from Paul
yes.
as
yeah,
well.
there's a school called Paul
Oh,
Roos
okay, never mind.
Gymnasium.
Okay, I didn't know that.
All the rugby players go there, no?
Oh.
Not all of them.
Yeah, but I speak in exaggeration.
Indeed. Oh, okay, continue.
So, that's called The Man in the Arena. It says, it is not the critic who counts, not the man who points out how the strong man stumbles, or where the doer of deeds could have done them better. The credit belongs to the man who is actually in the arena, whose face is marred by dust and sweat and blood, who strives valiantly, who errs, who comes short again and again, because there is no effort without error and shortcoming. But who does actually strive to do the deeds, who knows great enthusiasms, the great devotions, who spends himself in a worthy cause, who at the best knows that in the end the triumph of high achievement, and who at the worst, if he fails, at least fails while daring greatly, so that his place shall never be with those cold and timid souls who neither know victory nor defeat. Which is like, firstly, how quiet was that words, man? Yo, like I like something that's well written, no? But then, it's so true how, like, look, everybody has opinions. and I'm still guilty of allowing people's opinions to change my own or impact on the way I see things too often and too easily. And maybe not too often and too easily, but the wrong people. 'Cause I think there's the right people to change your opinions and stuff.
Maybe not. I won't say change your. Okay, maybe you actually let them change your opinions. I would say enlighten your opinion.
Or influence, maybe.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because change your opinion is kind of like, 180 from where you were.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. But help you also explore different perspectives. But it's like, you need to also live your life. And this is why I still put things in the microwave when Samantha says I'm gonna get cancer. Because ultimately we are all the man in the arena. But we can also be the man on the sidelines, right? Because not everybody's you're the main protagonist in your own story, but sometimes you also need to know when you need to be the side chick.
Until you get diagnosed with cancer. I'm not sorry.
Yo.
It was just because he just keeps doing the stuff anyway.
We don't manifest those
Please,
things.
dear
Samantha.
Jesus, don't let it be.
And people from microwaves, please don't sue them.
Yes. Microwaves are good sometimes.
Everything has its place and application.
Yes.
Sorry.
But I'm the man on the sidelines a lot, because I have opinions on everything. But also I need to make sure that I'm still the man in the arena who's still willing to take risks, who's still willing to try things and suck at them. Because you need to suck at things sometimes. I think if you're good at everything you do, then I don't think you are exploring enough things in your life.
But the little reading
Yeah.
also said something about not without some form of failure. And I think that's important. Very often people think about the success of their efforts as validation of their efforts, when the reading itself just says the action of your effort validates your purpose in fulfilling that.
Yes.
And so very often gratitude is shown towards those things that we are thankful for, like being able to wake up every day, being in a fortunate position, being in a place that you don't mind being. But what about the experience that you don't want, that's still awarded to you?
Yes.
Finding a sense of gratitude in the unwanted experience almost places you in a position where you cannot be unhappy.
Yes.
Because if you decide to appreciate everything that comes your way, whether it is the puncture or the spoon falling out of your bowl of cereal, and now you've got to walk all the way back to the kitchen to
And
get the new spoon.
clean
You've
up
got
the
to
oats
clean
that's
up.
on the floor.
Yeah, and people look at things like this and they say, but I'm happy anyway. What if I'm happy because of this?
Okay.
And putting that spin on gratitude, I think puts one in a very different position in order just to appreciate the fact that if things go wrong, it's because something is happening. Because I think, what is it, the last few lines that says, those who have ventured not? But those are the actual words? I don't know. But the concept is, those who didn't try anything are completely neutral.
They don't
And
know
so you
victory or
can be
defeat.
very successful at avoiding misfortune if you do nothing. And you will never gain a thing,
Yeah.
but you will never lose
It's
anything.
not a life worth living. It's amazing. I had an experience where there was, and I'll tell you guys about this at a different episode.
Okay.
But the wounds are still raw, eh?
Okay.
Where
Okay.
the scab is still developing. Not really. I think for the most part, it's in the
The
healing.
scab is there, but if the scab gets knocked.
No, I'll be fine.
Okay. I thought like
But
any
it's-
other
it's
person will start
juicy.
bleeding again.
No, but it's juicy content for a later episode,
Okay.
and so you guys should stick around for future episodes. Eh?
But in the meantime, you can be grateful for that whole experience.
Because even though it was humiliating, and I took an L, guys, and it was a big one at the moment. It sort of faded into insignificance afterwards. But it's like I burnt my hand on the stove. And this is not the story. That would be a boring story. Although I have a quiet story about burning things. But that one, you guys need to stick around for it.
That's a few episodes later.
Yeah, no. You guys will get. Oh, I was gonna say you guys will get intimate with me, but then that
Oh my
sounds
goodness.
horrible, and so
Okay.
I regret that. So this happened like 2 weeks ago on a Wednesday, and I'm grateful for two main things. I was with my friends. That's number one. So when I burnt my hand on the stove, there were people around me to let me know that, man, I still have the rest of my body. I wasn't so focused on my fingers that burnt.
Okay.
The second thing was the fact that I burnt my hand on the stove. Alright? Now I know next time not to put my hand on that stove in that situation. And I know that I'm at least a little bit more experienced than I was. And it's because I was willing to try something very dumb. It was a stupid thing that I tried. But I don't regret it, even though I can still feel the burn mark.
Good.
And see it.
No, it's more on the inside.
Oh, okay.
I burnt my heart, Samantha.
Okay. Sure.
And if any of you are willing to rub it better,
Sure.
hectic.
From the future to now.
You.
You never know, eh?
You.
My future could be
My
listening to
goodness.
this podcast.
Wow.
Drop me a message, guys,
Sure.
if you think it's you. um, Thank you everyone for listening to Honesty Hour.
Hectic.
This
This is
is
very honest. More
Yeah,
honest
no.
than I expected it to be. I mean, not that we expect to be honest in degrees,
Oh, but it was very real.
but it was very real.
Yeah.
Yes, that's true.
I'm striving to be more and more real. And honesty means a lot to me nowadays, more than it certainly did in the past. So, thank you for listening to the emotional roller coaster.
Yeah, well done is not it's definitely not the right phrase, and it's not the phrase that I feel in my mind, in my
Yes.
heart, in what makes sense, in that part of
Yeah, in the logical.
My being.
Yes.
High
but yeah,
five.
I would maybe a high five, or maybe a little bit more than a thumbs up, because maybe a high five.
A
Anyway, the
lovely
point
sisterly
is-
hug.
No,
Oh.
we don't.
Hectic.
Wait,
Wow.
Guys, listen.
We're
it's
not
not that we
affectionate like
don't.
that.
I believe in
Yes.
high five.
Yes.
Commendable effort.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's it.
Yeah.
Anyway, the point is, I would not necessarily share a story like that, even though at this age, I have lived life and we are quite some time away from events. I wouldn't necessarily go back and share an experience that I'm not exactly ashamed of for the world to hear, because who knows who's going to listen to this.
Yeah.
So anyway, but it's good that you take that responsibility on yourself, because you know how people just get cancelled nowadays. But okay,
You can't take yourself too seriously also, eh? So, yeah.
yes.
But this feels oddly therapeutic.
Okay.
I feel like I've
I'm
the
glad that
burden
we
has
can.
been lifted.
I'm glad that we can be that.
Burdens are
Okay,
lifted
there we
and
go.
go.
That we can fill that role for you
Thank you.
at this present moment.
Thank
because
you
it
for
might
being
not
here.
be like that in a few years.
Do you
I'm
have an
not- I'm just
announcement
saying,
that
no.
you?
What do you?
Are you
there's
guys-
no announcement.
Okay.
No, what are you talking about?
Okay, no, because
there's
that
no
sounded
announcement. It's just
oddly
that-
like
no,
a
because
farewell.
life happens. That's what.
That is
happens.
true. That is true.
Exactly.
And so may life happen well for you guys this week. May you experience the full beauty of being in the arena, the ups and the downs.
In full gratitude.
In full
Amen.
gratitude, yes.
I
Thank you.
agree.
Thank
Thank
you
you.
for having us here. Thank
That's
you
it.
for having me here. Edson can speak for himself.
I'm grateful to be here.
Alright.
And I'm grateful to have you guys and for you guys to allow me to speak.
Okay. Yes.
Thank you, everyone. Bye.
Goodbye.
Me too.
Until next time.
Okay.
What do you
Goodbye,
do?
everybody.
Farewell. Hearty farewell.
Hey, hearty